So I gave up on actually trying to do some work, and I went to Facebook for a while, where I found this guy, Damien D. Aracuza, something, he stands bravely in the face of adversity, and it looks like he is responsible for the Serbian Imperial Court in Exile webpage. And I don't know if he's my friend or not. I assume he isn't. LinkedIn, same kind of thing. A whole bunch of people that want me to endorse them and join a network and connect. Those are different. And so what I do is on Facebook, I just always say no. And on LinkedIn, I always say yes to anything. I just say accept, so on and so forth. I have like 1 million friends on LinkedIn. Cool. Sometimes software asks you to make the stupidest possible decisions. This is Rhapsody, it's a music service. And when you search for something, if you type in the name of a song, you have to decide that you want to search by song, or it won't find it if you get that wrong. And I mean, really, it's a computer. Just search everything. You know, how hard can it be? There's like 7 databases, search them all. iTunes doesn't do that. You take the name of the song and it just finds it for you, and you don't have to make that idiotic decision with the drop-down combo box. You can't even turn your computer off at the end of the day, because there's 6 different ways to do it. You have to decide which of those 6 kinds of off you want. Plus, if it's a laptop, you can just shut the laptop, you can press the on-off button, remove the battery, or throw it out the window. So there are 12 different ways to turn off your laptop. And then we have health insurance in America, which is purchased by the employers, and I'm an employer, so I have to design a plan. And the kind of decisions I had to make made absolutely no sense to me. There was always terminology about deductibles, co-insurance and preventive care and co-payments, and I don't know what any of this is. None of it made any sense to me. The funniest thing was I had to choose a network so that you can make copies of your DNA. Okay, all this makes sense, but does that apply to everything? Why do you make a budget in Microsoft Excel? Why are you customizing PowerPoint slides for your management consulting job until 12:30 in the morning? Why, for the love of God, are you using Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager 2007? How does this fit in? Well, you're doing those things because they're your job and you want to do a good job. Why do you want to do a good job? Because you might get promoted. If you get promoted, you will make more money and you will be able to make copies of your DNA. So that's my model. Richard Dawkins wrote a book called The Selfish Gene, and he came up with a very interesting idea here, which was the opposite of what everybody had thought. When I was taught biology in high school, I was taught that we have genes, we have DNA, as a mechanism by which we reproduce. This is a mechanism to make copies of ourselves out there in the wild. And Richard Dawkins says that's exactly the opposite. The genes have us so that they may reproduce. We are simply the most convenient mechanism they came up with to make copies of themselves. And everything that we have evolved to do in evolution could only exist for the purpose of making copies of ourselves. And this is a very backwards way of thinking of it. I mean, I originally thought that the gene was like, you know, like you have lungs so you can breathe, and you have a heart to pump the blood, and you have a pan.
But during the conversation I had with them, and a big part of their team is UK-based, we started talking about the BBC Micro. And I didn't know, I knew it existed, but I didn't know a lot about it because I generally knew the American sort of versions of computers, like the early computers. And I knew there were sort of offshoots that were unique to Europe and particularly the UK. So we went ahead and I was like, okay, we're talking about this too much, let me just go to Wikipedia and look it up. And when I looked it up, I learned a lot. But I also, you see that little logo, which I guess it's the Acorn logo, is that right? I was like, I've seen that before. I recognize that logo. And indeed, we have a user on Stack Overflow who has that icon. And to me, that was just another reason that this is cool. It's, you know, it's a way to interact with my fellow programmers, and we have a huge UK audience. In fact, 2 of the top Stack Overflow users are from the UK. I'm sure a sizable percentage of overall users are from the UK. So it's fun to sort of reconnect with programmers, my peers, as they say, across the pond. So let me get back in here. I do want to mention this book, Coders at Work, and this is going to come up in my presentation, which will be blissfully short, by the way, probably the shortest one you see today. This is a fantastic book. I'm still reading this, actually. I've gotten to, I think I'm on 10 Thompson.
And the documentation is really comprehensive. And there's quite cool demos that you get with the SDK. Let's see if I can find something. Let's take something boring like a browser. This is done with Cube. This is something like 150 lines. Let's see if that actually works. On this page. not be done. I think this clipping of the pictures works here. That's of course something everyone needs to have in their web browser. It's not close. Okay, maybe I'll give that one a go. If you want to know more about Qt, Qt.nokia.com is the place to go. You didn't see that? Let's have a look at something else. Hey, it's only 130 lines. I think this is kind of cool. This is the one I'm talking about. Stickman, my favorite. Again, a totally useless application. I think this was actually a video from me yesterday evening. Trying to dance.
Hi, welcome to the iPhone session. Is coming out okay?
No.
Is it on at all?
No. Computer says no.
Dot view there is a property, and it's a retained property. It's going to move from a reference count, which means by this point we've got a retained count of 2. So to avoid leaks, we're going to need to release our image as well. It's going to still be alive because of the retained count. And now we're almost ready to run. The last thing we need to do here is to add the image file to our resources. So I'm going to look for it. So, Jon Skeet here. Add that in. Now I believe should go to this.
Jon Skeet. He is a software engineer at Google in London, and also the author of an excellent book on C#. So, Jon.
Hi folks, it's great to be here. Just before I start what I have planned to speak on, I just wanted to mention something that Jeff said earlier on. When he was talking about Stack Overflow, he mentioned the breadcrumb trail that one question and answer leaves for future developers. And what he said was that this means that the next developer who runs into that problem doesn't have to wait the 10 to 20 minutes it would take to get an answer. Now, I have paid for cable, for phone, for all kinds of services, and been on the phone, on hold, for far more than 20 minutes before now, in order to get a completely unsatisfactory answer. So I'd just like Jeff and Joel to stand up, and I don't know, Jeff and Jared aren't here, I assume. But anyway, I would like to say thank you ever so much for Stack Overflow. So, as you may be able to tell from the title of my talk, this is not like any of the other presentations